Do you remember the laughter, chaos, and behind-the-scenes charm of the Dick Van Dyke Show, 1961 to 1966? 64 years later, the faces behind that comedy are almost unrecognizable. Some were struck by illness, addiction, and a few quietly vanished from the spotlight. Stay with us as we uncover what really happened after the cameras stopped rolling. Morey Amsterdam as Buddy Sorrell. Morey Amsterdam, born on December 14, 1908 in Chicago, Illinois, was 52 years old when he played Buddy Sorrell in the Dick Van Dyke Show. Buddy Sorrell turns every writer's room into a battlefield of quick jokes, constantly interrupting silence with sharp one-liners and improvisation that keeps the comedy unpredictable. The role earned him widespread recognition as one of the sharpest comedic voices in early sitcom history. Morey Amsterdam died on October 28, 1996 at the age of 87 in Los Angeles, California, due to a heart attack. He was laid to rest in California. In his final years, he remained active in comedy, appearing in stand-up shows, guest television roles, and writing projects despite gradual heart-related health decline. That long career was built on decades of work across radio, nightclubs, and television. He performed in more than 1,000 nightclub and radio appearances to become one of the most experienced comedy performers in early American entertainment history. He also contributed to songs such as Rum and Coca-Cola, which sold over 10 million copies worldwide, becoming one of the biggest novelty hits of its era. That was why Morey Amsterdam is remembered as a pioneering comedy performer whose improvisational style helped shape early American sitcom humor. Rose Marie as Sally Rogers. Rose Marie, born on August 15, 1923 in New York City, was 38 years old when she played Sally Rogers in The Dick Van Dyke Show. Sally Rogers brings sharp humor and fearless confidence into every writer's room scene, using quick wit and sharp timing to hold her ground in a workplace where she is often the only woman shaping the jokes. The role became one of the defining points of Rose Marie's long entertainment career, earning her multiple Emmy nominations and solidifying her place in classic American sitcom history. Rose Marie died on December 28, 2017 at the age of 94 in Van Nuys, California, due to natural causes related to old age. She was cremated and laid to rest in a private family setting. In her final years, she lived with her daughter Georgiana, staying mentally active, engaging with fans, and celebrating a career that began when she was only 3 years old, performing as Baby Rose Marie on radio. That extraordinary career stretched across nearly 9 decades of entertainment history, from vaudeville and early radio to classic television success. She also appeared in films such as Dead Heat on a Merry-Go-Round, 1966, and maintained steady television work well into later decades. Sally Rogers remains her most iconic television role, but Rose Marie is remembered as one of the rare performers whose career truly spanned the entire evolution of American entertainment. Dick Van Dyke as Rob Petrie. Dick Van Dyke, born on December 13, 1925 in West Plains, Missouri, was 35 years old when he played Rob Petrie in The Dick Van Dyke Show. Rob Petrie turns everyday chaos into comedy through physical humor and awkward charm, often finding himself caught between domestic life and the unpredictable world of television writing. The role became a defining breakthrough for Van Dyke, earning him multiple Emmy Awards and establishing him as one of television's most beloved comedic leads. In 2026, Dick Van Dyke is 100 years old, living in Malibu, California, after a career that has lasted more than 7 decades. His health has naturally declined with age, including mobility challenges and age-related physical weakness, but he remains mentally sharp and emotionally active, supported closely by his wife Arlene Silver. In recent years, he has stepped away from acting entirely, choosing a quiet retirement surrounded by family and public admiration. Across film and television, his legacy was shaped by landmark successes such as Mary Poppins, 1964, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, 1968, and Diagnosis, Murder, 1993 to 2001, each showing a different side of his versatility from musical performance to long-form television storytelling. Even late appearances like Night at the Museum, 2006, reinforced his enduring screen presence across generations. His career stands as a rare example of sustained relevance across shifting eras of entertainment, built on adaptability, humor, and a deeply recognizable physical comedy style. Mary Tyler Moore as Laura Petrie. Mary Tyler Moore, born on December 29, 1936 in Brooklyn, New York, was 24 years old when she played Laura Petrie in The Dick Van Dyke Show. Laura Petrie transforms the role of a sitcom wife into something fresh and modern, balancing charm, independence, and subtle strength while living inside a chaotic comedy household. The role became her breakthrough in television, earning her 2 Emmy Awards and launching one of the most influential careers in American TV history. Mary Tyler Moore died on January 25, 2017 at the age of 80 in Greenwich, Connecticut, due to respiratory failure caused by pneumonia complications. She was cremated and her ashes were handled privately by her family. In her final years, she lived under medical care due to severe complications from long-term type 1 diabetes, including vision loss and major neurological and physical decline, while also undergoing surgery for a brain meningioma in 2011. That career, however, reached far beyond early sitcom success. The Mary Tyler Moore Show alone earned 29 Emmy Awards, a record-breaking achievement for its time, and reshaped how women were portrayed in television workplace comedy. She also earned an Academy Award nomination for Ordinary People, 1980. Today, Mary Tyler Moore is remembered as a groundbreaking television icon whose work redefined female leads in modern entertainment. Larry Matthews as Richie Petrie. Larry Matthews, born on August 15, 1955 in Burbank, California, was 5 years old when he played Richie Petrie in The Dick Van Dyke Show. Richie Petrie grows up on screen as the calm center of a lively household, reacting naturally to his parents' chaotic world with simple, believable childhood innocence. The role became his only major acting credit and placed him across all 158 episodes of the series. By 2026, Larry Matthews is 70 years old, living a quiet, retired life in Los Angeles after leaving Hollywood completely in the 1960s. He has occasionally appeared at nostalgic television reunions or fan events, reconnecting with audiences who still remember him as Richie Petrie. That decision to leave acting led him into education and later a successful corporate career in advertising and account management after graduating from UCLA in 1976. He worked behind the scenes in television production early on, including editing work on Soap, where the show itself ran for 4 seasons and over 80 episodes, before transitioning fully into business leadership roles. Richie Petrie remains his only acting credit, but Larry Matthews is remembered as a rare child star who built a completely different life outside Hollywood. Richard Deacon as Mel Cooley. Richard Deacon, born on May 14, 1920 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, was 40 years old when he played Mel Cooley in The Dick Van Dyke Show. Mel Cooley is the rigid and easily flustered producer whose professional seriousness constantly clashes with the chaotic humor of the writer's room. The role became one of Deacon's most recognizable television performances, cementing his place as a familiar face in early American sitcom history. Richard Deacon died on August 8, 1984 at the age of 62 in Los Angeles, California, due to a sudden heart attack at his home. He was buried in California. In his final years, his acting opportunities became more limited, leading him to appear mostly in guest roles on television panel shows and game programs while living a quiet life in West Los Angeles. That career, however, included one of the most recognizable supporting actor resumes in classic television. He also became widely known for his role as Fred Rutherford in Leave It to Beaver, which ran for 6 seasons and over 235 episodes. making him a staple of American family television in the 1950s and 1960s. Outside acting, he developed a surprising second reputation as a cookbook author, publishing popular microwave cooking books during the 1970s and 1980s that reflected the era's growing fascination with convenience cooking. Mel Cooley remains his signature sitcom role, but Richard Deacon is remembered as a versatile character actor whose career quietly shaped the golden age of American television comedy. Anne Morgan Guilbert as Millie Helper. Anne Morgan Guilbert, born on October 16, 1928 in Minneapolis, Minnesota, was 32 years old when she played Millie Helper in The Dick Van Dyke Show. Millie Helper is a talkative, curious neighborhood wife whose constant gossip and quick reactions turn everyday suburban life into comedic chaos. The role became one of Guilbert's earliest recognitions in television, setting the foundation for a long and steady career in sitcom acting. Anne Morgan Guilbert died on June 14, 2016 at the age of 87 in Los Angeles, California due to cancer. She was buried in California. Even while facing illness, she continued appearing on screen in projects such as Getting On and Life in Pieces, 2016, keeping her presence alive in television through small but memorable performances. Across decades of work, she became known as a reliable comedic presence. Her later popularity was reinforced through The Nanny in the 1990s, alongside appearances in series like Seinfeld that showcased her sharp timing in modern sitcom writing. For us, Anne Morgan Guilbert's legacy was built through a long chain of unforgettable supporting performances that quietly shaped American comedy across generations. Carl Reiner as Alan Brady. Carl Reiner, born on March 20, 1922 in the Bronx, New York, was 39 years old when he played Alan Brady in The Dick Van Dyke Show. Alan Brady is a loud, self-centered television star who enjoys dominating conversations and keeping everyone around him slightly off balance with ego and theatrical attitude. The role carried an extra layer of realism because Reiner was also the creator of the series, shaping its tone from behind the scenes while stepping into one of its most memorable on-screen personalities. Carl Reiner died on June 29, 2020, at the age of 98 in Beverly Hills, California, due to natural causes. He was cremated, and his legacy was preserved through his family, including his son Rob Reiner, a successful director. After the passing of his wife Estelle in 2008, he continued living in close companionship with close friends, especially Mel Brooks, with whom he maintained a lifelong creative and personal bond. His influence stretched across writing, directing, and performing, collecting 9 Emmy Awards across different roles in television history. Films like The Jerk, 1979, which became a major box office comedy success, and Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid, 1982, which blended classic Hollywood footage with new performances, showed how his humor evolved across eras. Few television creators managed to shape both the structure of sitcom storytelling and its on-screen satire in the same career, and Alan Brady stands as one of the clearest reflections of that dual identity. Jerry Paris as Jerry Helper. Jerry Paris, born on July 25, 1925 in San Francisco, California, was 36 years old when he played Jerry Helper in The Dick Van Dyke Show. Jerry Helper is a calm and practical husband whose quiet reactions often contrast with Millie's loud and energetic personality. The role marked one of Paris's early on-screen appearances before he became far more influential behind the camera. Jerry Paris died on March 31, 1986, at the age of 60 in Los Angeles, California, due to complications from lung cancer. He was laid to rest in California. During his final period, his health declined while he remained active in television production, continuing to work under the pressure of demanding directing schedules that defined his later career. His real impact came from directing, where he helped shape the rhythm and success of American sitcom television. He directed 84 episodes of The Dick Van Dyke Show, earning an Emmy Award for Outstanding Directing, and later became a key creative force behind Happy Days, one of the most successful family sitcoms of the 1970s. He also directed hit comedy films such as Police Academy 2, 1985, and Police Academy 3, 1986. His story is remembered as one of the creative minds who helped define the structure and timing of classic American television comedy from behind the camera. Alan Melvin as Saul Pomerantz. Alan Melvin, born on February 18, 1923 in Kansas City, Missouri, was 39 years old when he played Saul Pomerantz in The Dick Van Dyke Show. Saul Pomerantz appears as a friendly, easygoing man with a relaxed personality who contrasts the fast-paced, joke-heavy environment around Rob Petrie. The role became one of many supporting appearances that helped establish Melvin as a steady presence in American sitcom television. Alan Melvin died on January 17, 2008, at the age of 84 in Los Angeles, California, due to complications from cancer and heart failure. He was buried in California. In his final years, he lived quietly in Brentwood with his wife Amalia Faustina, who supported him through his illness and reduced mobility caused by bone marrow cancer. His career moved through some of television's most recognizable comedy series, including The Brady Bunch and All in the Family. He also worked extensively in voice acting, including the role of Magilla Gorilla for Hanna-Barbera, which became one of the studio's most popular animated characters. Saul Pomerantz reflects one part of his screen work, but his career as a whole was built on consistent supporting roles that quietly shaped decades of American television comedy. Amzie Strickland as Nurse. Amzie Strickland, born on January 10, 1919 in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, was 43 years old when she played Nurse in The Dick Van Dyke Show. Nurse appears as a calm, practical presence in the background of hospital and town scenes, delivering brief but natural reactions that fit seamlessly into everyday situations. The role matched Strickland's signature style of understated, believable character acting. Amzie Strickland died on July 5, 2006, at the age of 87 in Wilsonville, Oregon, due to complications from Alzheimer's disease. She was buried in Oregon. In her final years, she lived a quiet life with her husband Frank Cady, gradually withdrawing from public life as her memory declined while receiving care in a nursing facility. Her career was one of the most extensive in American television history, spanning more than 650 appearances across major series including The Andy Griffith Show, I Love Lucy, and The Twilight Zone. She became widely known as one of Hollywood's most reliable background actresses, capable of fitting naturally into almost any story without drawing attention away from the main cast. Nurse reflects one of her many small roles, but Amzie Strickland's career represents a rare consistency across decades of television history, where she became a familiar face in countless American homes. Isabelle Randolph as Clara Petrie. Isabelle Randolph, born on December 21, 1889 in New York City, was 72 years old when she played Clara Petrie in The Dick Van Dyke Show. Clara Petrie carries a sharp, aristocratic manner and a critical attitude that makes every family interaction tense, especially in scenes where she judges Laura Petrie's modern lifestyle with cold precision and old-fashioned expectations. The role perfectly matched Randolph's long career playing high society, strict maternal figures in American radio and television. Isabelle Randolph died on January 11, 1973, at the age of 83 in Pasadena, California, due to natural causes linked to old age. She was laid to rest in California. In her final years, she lived in a retirement community in Pasadena, staying close to family while gradually stepping away from acting as her mobility and health declined. Her career began on stage and radio, where she became widely recognized for portraying authoritative upper-class women, most notably Abigail Uppington in the radio hit Fibber McGee and Molly. She also built a steady television presence throughout the 1950s and early 1960s, often cast in roles that required elegance, mixed with authority and comedic rigidity. Clara Petrie reflects one of her final screen appearances. but Isabelle Randolph's career represents a long tradition of radio to television performers who helped define early American character acting. Herby Faye as Willie. Herby Faye, born on February 11, 1899 in New York City, was 63 years old when he played Willie in The Dick Van Dyke Show. Willie is a working-class man with a rough, tired look and a naturally comedic presence that turns everyday labor and small frustrations into humor through simple reactions and timing. The role fit Faye's long background in vaudeville comedy, where physical expression and quick delivery defined his style. Herby Faye died on June 28, 1980, at the age of 81 in Las Vegas, Nevada, due to age-related health decline. He was buried in Nevada. In his final years, he lived quietly with his wife Gertrude, staying away from Hollywood after his health began to weaken and he could no longer perform on screen. His career began long before television became dominant, growing out of vaudeville stages where live comedy demanded strong presence and fast reaction. He also appeared in The Phil Silvers Show as Sergeant Pendleton, a popular military comedy series that ran for 4 seasons and became one of the most influential sitcoms of its era. Willie reflects one of his later television roles, but Herby Faye's work represents a bridge between old vaudeville performance traditions and the early years of American television comedy. Jerry Hausner as Herbie Finkel. Jerry Hausner, born on May 20, 1909 in Cleveland, Ohio, was 53 years old when he played Herbie Finkel in The Dick Van Dyke Show. Herbie Finkel appears as a small but lively supporting character who brings quick, situational humor into brief interactions, often reacting with fast-talking energy that fits the rhythm of classic sitcom comedy. The role aligned with Hausner's long experience in playing side characters in both radio and television. Jerry Hausner died on April 1, 1993, at the age of 83 in Los Angeles, California, due to heart failure. He was buried in California. In his final years, he lived quietly with his wife Ruth in Los Angeles, gradually stepping away from entertainment as age-related health problems limited his ability to work. His career is closely tied to early American sitcom history, especially through his recurring role as Jerry, Ricky Ricardo's agent in I Love Lucy, a series that ran for 6 seasons and became one of the most influential comedies in television history. He also contributed voice work to animated productions such as Mr. Magoo, where he helped shape one of the era's most recognizable cartoon characters. Herbie Finkel reflects one of his many supporting appearances, but Jerry Hausner's body of work represents the kind of behind-the-scenes character acting that quietly supported the golden age of American television comedy. Ray Kellogg as Dr. Ray Kellogg, born on November 15, 1919 in Great Bend, Kansas, was 43 years old when he played Doctor in The Dick Van Dyke Show. Doctor appears in brief hospital scenes as a stern, matter-of-fact medical professional whose quick decisions and short dialogue add realism to the show's everyday situations. The role matched Kellogg's long-standing screen image as a reliable supporting actor in authority figures, such as police officers and military men. Ray Kellogg died on September 26, 1981, at the age of 62 in Los Angeles, California, due to stomach cancer. He was buried in California. Before his death, he faced financial difficulties as acting opportunities decreased, while his health steadily worsened due to the advancing illness that caused persistent pain and physical weakness. His career was built across 1950s and 1960s Hollywood as a dependable character actor in both film and television. He appeared in numerous westerns, crime dramas, and action productions where authority figures were central to the story structure. Doctor reflects one of his smaller television appearances, but Ray Kellogg's work represents the backbone of mid-century Hollywood casting. Dabbs Greer as Mr. Brumley and Mr. Burger Dabbs Greer, born on April 2, 1917 in Fairview, Missouri, was 45 years old when he played Mr. Brumley/Mr. Burger in The Dick Van Dyke Show. Mr. Brumley/Mr. Berger appears as a mild-mannered office man whose quiet, polite behavior makes him blend into everyday workplace situations without drawing attention. The role fits Greer's long-established screen identity as a dependable supporting actor often cast as ministers, clerks, and everyday working men. Dabbs Greer died on April 28, 2007 at the age of 90 in Pasadena, California, due to kidney failure and heart disease. He was buried in Peace Valley Cemetery in Missouri. In his final years, he lived in California after gradually stepping away from acting, ending a career that had spanned more than 6 decades across film and television. His body of work remains one of the most extensive in American television history, with nearly 100 film roles and close to 600 television appearances across genres ranging from westerns like Gunsmoke, where he appeared in 42 episodes, to dramas such as The Twilight Zone and The Fugitive. He also portrayed Reverend Alden in Little House on the Prairie for nearly a decade, a role that made him a familiar face to millions of viewers. His final film role came in The Green Mile, 1999, where he played the elderly Paul Edgecombe at 108 years old, closing a career defined by quiet consistency and extraordinary longevity in supporting roles. Sandy Kenyon as Lionel Dan. Sandy Kenyon, born on August 5, 1922 in the Bronx, New York, was 39 years old when he played Lionel Dan in The Dick Van Dyke Show. Lionel Dan appears as a grounded, straightforward man working as a supporting office colleague. The role reflects Kenyon's strength in portraying reliable supporting characters across television drama and comedy. Sandy Kenyon died on February 20, 2010 at the age of 87 in Los Angeles, California, due to kidney cancer. He was buried in California. In his final years, he lived a quiet life at home in Los Angeles, gradually stepping away from acting as his health declined. As his on-screen appearances became less frequent, his career legacy was increasingly defined by the wide range of television and film projects he had contributed to over several decades. He became a familiar guest face across major series such as Gunsmoke, Bonanza, The Fugitive, Hogan's Heroes, All in the Family, and The Twilight Zone, appearing in dozens of episodes across genres. Beyond screen work, he performed in stage productions, such as the original 1961 Los Angeles production of Conversation at Midnight. Lionel Dan represents one of his many television appearances, but Sandy Kenyon's career reflects the steady presence of a working actor who appeared across nearly every major era of American television storytelling. So after 64 years since The Dick Van Dyke Show, 1961 to 1966, first brought laughter into living rooms, the cast's journeys have taken dramatically different paths. Which transformation surprised you the most? And which cast member's story stayed with you the longest? If you enjoyed this journey back in time, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more then and now stories, and join us in the next chapter of television history.